Hello friends, Diego here at Diego Shop. Today I would like to talk to you about heavy-duty clutches and related components. Clutch, as most of you know, is a very important part of the truck since it transfers the power and the torque from the engine to the transmission. It's a very crucial component that we need to make sure to keep it in top condition. Some signs of failure could be slipping under load, hard to go into gear. Sometimes your truck will jump a little bit when you let off the clutch. One thing that is crucial to keep in mind is to keep your clutch adjusted and lubricated. Most of the failures that we see on the clutches on the heavy-duty trucks is for lack of lubrication. When you do have to do your clutch, it's important that you take care of all the components that are related to how the clutch works. This right here is one of the most common clutches that we use here at Diego Shop. It's an Eaton Fuller clutch. We like to use OEM stuff. This is your disc, this is your pressure plate, and this is your release bearing. And the way that the clutch works is when it's on the truck, the fork releases, pulls out on the throttle bearing, releasing it to slow down the transmission so you can put it into gear. One key component of the clutch system is your flywheel. You always want to make sure that when you put a new clutch, your flywheel gets resurfaced. You don't want to put a new disc that is perfectly flat and new into a flywheel that is all wavy and worn out. You always want to make sure that whether you do it or someone else is doing your clutch, your flywheel gets resurfaced. And that will extend greatly the life of your clutch. Another key component is your pilot bearing, which goes in the center of your flywheel, and when it's all put together, the input shaft of your transmission is supported by the pilot bearing in the flywheel, avoiding your input shaft to move up and down and create vibration on your truck. So it's important that we use a high quality, high temperature pilot bearing. Another important part of the clutch system is your release fork. The release fork normally sits inside the transmission with cross shafts on both sides, and when you push your clutch, the fork moves, pulling the throttle bearing away and releasing your disc. What happens with time is that your cross shafts wear out for lack of lubrication. Here we can see cross shaft that has been very worn because of time and also lack of lubrication. And what happens when the cross shaft get worn out is that it allows the fork to move sideways, which makes the throttle bearing to release crooked. And when the throttle bearing releases crooked, what it does, it puts pressure on the inner bushing against your input shaft, creating too much heat and making it fail prematurely. So this is a very important component that needs to be looked at. Sometimes the fork also wears inside in the pads unevenly. And another place that we also need to look very good when we're doing a clutch is your input shaft in your transmission. Make sure that there is no indentation on your splines, because that's where the disc will slide in and out a little bit. But if there is indentations here, it will get caught. So it's important to inspect your input shaft here on the splines, and also where the pilot bearing rides. If it's too worn out, your pilot bearing will move too much, allowing the input shaft to vibrate. One more part is your clutch brake, that it works between the front cover of the transmission with your release bearing. When you push the clutch, your release bearing pushes the clutch brake, stopping the transmission so you can put your transmission into first or reverse. As you can see, there are many components related to the clutch, and they all need to be looked at and make sure they are in good condition when you are replacing your clutch. Here at Diego Shop, we take care of all these parts, making sure to leave your truck and your clutch system in top condition. If you have any questions, if you need any help with your truck, don't hesitate to give us a call. Diego Shop, diesel service and repair done right.